The 1968 Olympics happened in Mexico City. 112 countries attended. Almost 5,500 athletes were there. Mexico City had a high elevation, so the African runners had an advantage, since they practiced and trained in high elevation. Drug testing happened for the first time.
Tommie Smith was born on June 6, 1944, in Texas. He competed at San Jose, California State College, where he broke records for the 220-yard straightaway, and was a member of a 4x200-meter relay team that broke the world record of running 22.1 seconds. Tommie Smith attended the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City. He competed in a 200-meter race. He broke the record running 19.83 seconds, with winning the gold medal.
John Carlos was born on June 5, 1945 in Harlem, New York. He attended San Jose, California State College with Tommie Smith. He also attended the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City, where he ran in the 200-meter race and placed third, winning the bronze medal. This is a clip from the 200-meter race.
Smith and Carlos were members of the Olympic Project for Human Rights, which was organized by Harry Edwards and others to draw attention to racism in sports and society. Smith had decided that if he won the 200-meter, he would make his own statement. So at the victory ceremony for the men's 200-meter run, Tommie Smith and John Carlos made a protest that today we know as the Black Power Salute.
According to the athletes, the Black Power Salute was a tribute to their African American heritage. Quoted by Tommie Smith himself, "I wore a black right-hand glove and Carlos wore the left-hand glove of the same pair. My raised right hand stood for the power in Black America. Carlos' raised left hand stood for the unity of Black America. Together they formed an arc of unity and power. The black scarf around my neck stood for Black pride. The black socks with no shoes stood for Black poverty in racist America. The totality of our effort was the regaining of Black dignity." End quote.
Before Smith and Carlos were rewarded their medals, Peyton Jordan, the head coach of the track and field team, and sprint coach Stan Wright went to Robert Paul and told him that he had given Smith and Carlos permission to wear black socks. However, Smith and Carlos did not mention anything about fists being raised.
I did not throw a rock and hide my hand. What I did is held my hand up in a cry for freedom.
We were electrified when they raised their fist. None of us knew that was coming. And when it happened, it was so right.
People call it Black Power. Of course I'm black. Of course we represented power. But it was a cry for freedom. Here, notice me. I'm in need. What are you in need of? Justice.
Because of Smith and Carlos' protests, their credentials were taken away. The president of the committee, Douglas F. Robbie, told Smith and Carlos that they must leave the Olympic Village within 48 hours. Black athletes' brave act to express their rights became the responsibility of the Olympic Committee to take care of. Their suspension angered other black athletes on the American team. The impact of the protest was immediate. The U.S. Olympic Committee warned all other U.S. athletes, both black and white, that severe penalties would follow with any other protests.
Do this kind of thing. You ought to use this as a kind of world stage.
David, since we are athletes, although I am a teacher, but I'm not a politician, we use this so the whole world could see the poverty of the black man in America.
At the same time, cynics might say that you've got it all. You've got publicity, you've got medals, you've got martyrdom as well. What are you going to say to that?
I can't eat that, and the kids around my block, they grew up with me, they can't eat it. And the kids that's going to grow up after them, they can't eat publicity, they can't eat gold medals, as Tommy Smith said. All we ask for is an equal chance to be a human being. And as far as I see now, we're 5 steps below the ladder. And every time we try and touch the ladder, they put their foot on our hands and don't want us to climb up.
The Australian silver medalist Peter Norman stood beside Smith and Carlos on the victory stand while wearing a badge supporting the Olympic Project for Human Rights. He was later criticized in his native country for supporting the protests made by the two athletes.
In another incident, Ralph Boston, who finished third in the long jump, went barefoot during his portion of the ceremonies and said, "They are going to have to send me home too, because I protested on the victory stand." He stated that it was an action the Olympic Committee had to take, and then also added the way to have done it was to sit down and talk with Carlos and Smith and hear their side of the story before taking some punitive action against them.
The goal of the Olympics is to bring together the world's athletes to compete against one another. It was not made for political statements. The years following their suspension from the Olympic Games, Smith and Carlos both found life to be difficult.
When Smith returned from Mexico, he was instantly fired from his job at North American Pontiac. He then became a professor and track coach at Santa Monica College. Carlos had different issues. His wife committed suicide in the late 70s. He blamed himself for the pressure put on him by his Olympic protest. In honor of Tommy Smith and John Carlos' protest in the 1968 Olympic Games, there is a statue in the sculpture garden at San Jose State College of them on the podium with their fists being raised. The statue is a great symbol for the community of San Jose. Tommy and John both attended school there. They showed the students of the present and future that they can make a difference on the global stage.
These statues also represent the sacrifice these two brave athletes made in order to bring attention to an important issue that they were willing to fight for.